Kumekucha siku mpya, jua limeng'aa, kumepambazuka, mema nataraji. Turauke twende shule, twende kazi, tushughulike, tujijenge, tuimarike, tunaweza.
Ngaaf is one of the institutions that is under State Department for Planning.
A lot of members did not see the reason why we could get this funding to support the office of the women representative. But the women representative then continued to push, and finally the president said, let us give them some little amount of money.
For instance, like in Kiambu recently, His Excellency the President came over to witness the opening of the Drug Rehabilitation Center. So we make sure that the events that are tied around the project opening, project commencement are publicized, and it's not something that we keep quiet about. So that way then it increases the publicity of what we do in Ghana. We have specifically said we need a social fund where about 2 billion shillings every year will be made available to that fund, and then that money then will be channeled to vulnerable groups in a structured and in a measurable way, which is equitable.
And the women were very clear, and they said CDF can do the other projects, but there are people that are vulnerable. Them being mothers are supposed to meet the vulnerabilities of the society.
Whatever we receive, we work within the framework of regulations. There are Ngaaf regulations, the Public Finance Management Act, whereby it stipulates that out of what we receive, 2% is maintained in the Secretariat for Emergency, 2% maintained for monitoring and evaluation, 3% for the county committees, and 2% for board and secretarial expenditure.
We provide funds for revolving funds and for table banking for groups under the affirmative action groups. We also provide bursaries and scholarships for vulnerable children and youth to access education, and also to get skills training, employability skills.
The people work directly with our women reps, and then they come up with the projects and the proposals which we fund. They just go down to reach the common manager.
My role therefore involves a lot of oversight of the day-to-day running of the fund in the county. The main objective being that we target the social development of the affirmative action groups. These are women, youth, persons with disability.
We also did realize that this country's got a lot of talents. The youth have a lot of talents, but then nobody's tapping on these talents. And so the reason why, as an organization, we've decided to look at how can we be able to build up these talents so that we can be able to build our society to be able to be competitive globally. And so we put a lot of our money as well to be able to develop talents for youth in terms of sports. We also culture and art. Recently, we've actually had a big main tournament in Kisumu, where whole youth in Kisumu that can play soccer, and we realize this is a region that has a lot of potential. So they play talents and they play soccer, and we'll be able to pick up the talents. And those talents are already linked to the KPL, and we are soon going to see them playing in these national leagues. And before we know it, they are playing globally. And we will have actually say that we're developing the culture, we're developing our society to be able to do things in a manner that is required.
4 key pillars guide the national government affirmative action fund's operations: economic empowerment, capacity development, socio-cultural development, and institutional capacity. The fund's objectives are achieved through positive activities such as economic empowerment, bursary scholarships, table banking activities, civic education, prevention of substance abuse, nurturing of talent, value additional initiatives, and emergency response. Makueni is one of the counties in the arid and semi-arid lands with little or minimal rainfall to support agriculture. Thus, the women in this community decided to take up small tree farming to support the needs of their family, which was funded through the National Government Affirmative Action Fund. Ngaaf has been funding us with money, and recently they distributed chicks to each groups. Through this project, we've been able to benefit a lot, and I thank God for that.
We do what I call human projects. We touch lives by providing interventions that probably would not be provided by the government because they require a little bit of attention.
It came this procedure of Mama Care that we are being advertised that people who want to recover, they can come to Mama Care and they can get rehabbed.
Basically for me, I use National Government Affirmative Action Fund to provide bursaries, to provide interventions for the affirmative groups. I'm talking about issues of alcoholism, for example. Those are things that require somebody to start off a project and continually monitor until you get to where you need to be.
Honorable Mushomba was sent by the President. She's the one who came and brought me to this rehabilitation center. This rehabilitation center has helped me a lot since I'm better off than before. Thanks to Ngaaf for the facilitation they have given to us here. I respect Mushomba and the President too, since he is the one who sent me here.
If you can see my photo in five months ago, then you look at it right now, you can see there is a change.
Tumepata hii tinga 2016. We got this tractor in 2016 through our then woman representative Aisha Jumwa. She also leased 10 acres of land for farming. The tractor is helping us in farming, and the piece of land, we use it to cultivate maize, watermelon, and even green grams. We have benefited because after harvesting, we usually distribute the surplus among the group members and sell the rest to get money to send our kids to school and take care of other expenses.
In
the past, camels were considered as wild animals, so are their products. As educated stakeholders in the community, we sat and brought these women together to form a group. We realized the importance of Ngaaf when we wanted to start the project. We didn't have enough equipment like the aluminium cans, cooling plants, refrigerators, and ATM milk machines, and that's when we got our first funding from Ngaaf. Now we have 13 milk collection points. On our second funding from Ngaaf, we purchased a vehicle and camels that are in our homesteads. A donor is one who not only gives you money, but also educates you and your members. I would like to say thank you, and will still wish Ngaaf to continue supporting us to the international market, give us more capacity building, and continue partnering with us. We really appreciate Ngaaf, not only us, but also in the remote areas, because everyone knows that Tofik was uplifted by Ngaaf.
The first time I got funding from Homa Bay County Women's Circle, Ngaaf gave me some capital to start on the construction of this petrol station. This market has been constructed by Ngaaf through the Women Rep, which has assisted women a lot. Initially, we used to sell our fish in the sun, but since they erected these sheds, we feel so good because we don't get rained on or scorched by the sun.
Ngaaf has really helped us a lot. We didn't have jobs in the past. The youth were really suffering. But since they constructed the cold storage facility and the sheds,
Now we get something to take back home. We are so happy and we urge them to continue supporting us.
Tena tunawaambia wazidi kutusaidia.
After we started this cooperative, we have peace and money to take our kids to schools. Now we want to keep dairy cows because we have enough water and feeds, which we make them manually. We submitted our proposal to the women representative to fund our project, and now we have water tanks, adequate water, and currently we are selling cows salt lick. Now we have about 160,000 from our second proposal. We have really achieved a lot through Ngaaf, and we say thank you. This is the tip of the iceberg when it comes to fight against disenfranchisement of vulnerable groups. The National Government Affirmative Action Fund has set its sight on the future that promises equity and opportunity to all.
The National Government Affirmative Action Fund.